Good morning, traders. It is Wednesday, the 4th of March, 2015, 8:01 a.m. Chicago time. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. My personal opinions, market data, and recommendations subject to change without notice. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Not too much on the overnight news. Key elements: India's Reserve Bank of India cuts key rates by 25 basis points in an intra-meeting unannounced move. Again, playing on to the continuous theme of currency wars, basically economic wars by proxy, by currency. Major European service PMIs missed expectations in various readings. The US dollar continued to maintain a firm tone against most currencies, with the US dollar index hitting fresh 11-year highs again. And then ADP came out. US ADP employment change came in at 212,000 versus 219,000 expected. Not much else on deck other than that. As far as what's coming up on the open, 15 minutes after the cash open, we have February final market services PMI expecting 57, composite 56.8. At 9 Central, 10 Eastern, Bank of Canada interest rate decision expected to leave interest rates unchanged at 0.75%. Also at 9 o'clock, we have February ISM non-manufacturing composite looking for 56.5. At 9:30, weekly DOE crude oil inventories. And then at noon, we had Fed's George speaks on the economy in Kansas City. At 1 o'clock, we have Beige Book. You want to pay attention to this one. And then at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, we have Fed's Fisher speaks at a community forum. The key numbers are still ahead of us this week. There's been a fair amount of action on the sell side here, as I've been talking about for since last Thursday. But really lying ahead, tomorrow we have UK asset purchases and rate decisions, rate decision by the Bank of England. And then following that, we have the ECB rate decision. Then we have the press conference with the ECB's Draghi outlining policy going forward. Very, very important. After that, during his speech, we'll have U.S. initial claims. Then we'll have factory orders, natural gas, and Feds Williams in the morning as well. Friday's a key day. EU GDP, but most of all, at 7:30 on Friday, we have non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. We also have trade balance and then consumer credit in the afternoon, and that closes out the week. So that's what's on deck for today, tomorrow, and Friday. Let's look at what has happened here and see where we are. There was no trader bite yesterday. Unfortunately, my partner here at Stage 5 Trading, the head broker, his grandpa passed away and he had to leave, so I had to cover for him, so I wasn't able to do a trader bite. But the action, I tried to outline the action. I did post my views on the market in the S5 chat room. And I had outlined that I am still expecting the 2099.75 CLVN to be tested. And then the next area down, as you can see here, this is the composite up to the break to new highs, which ends its tenure today, because I'm going to stretch this composite out to include yesterday's action after I've talked about it. And essentially, the areas to test, we're very clear here. 2103 has been tested twice. 2102.75 right here, and carried forward, tested again 2102, and then it finally breaks through to the LVN at 2099.75. As you can see here, nice notch out, and that was the first key target below that I've been talking about for several days now. Following that, 96 even is the next balance level that we're looking for. HVN level, and yesterday it took it out by 2 ticks at 95.50. Buyers came in. You can see a beautiful taper in volume as the market dropped and into the HVN, showing there's less and less and less interest by participants as prices dropped, and that caused us to rotate back up and through the 99.75. You can see the 99.75 retested here, very small. These are 15-minute bars, retested, and then finally pushed through to close in the morning range and back up into the upper balance zone. So we tested below the LVN, so we've moved from this high volume node up here and into the higher volume node below, and found rejection and ended up back into the high volume node. This morning, this leads me to believe that this morning we're likely to battle into this this area. So what we've done is we've traded up here, we created balance up here, we've moved lower, we've tested the next balance, and then overnight we're not able to maintain the upper balance. So chances are we'll start filling in this low volume node. The levels below were 96. We went to 95.50. Beneath that, you have 91 is the key area below that. 91, the 88.75 is the prior high, 86.50 is value, and then 82.25 is the sequence of prices below. But as we extend this out now, because the action up here was separate, we kept this profile separate. You can see this kind of purple outline stopping on the 23rd. The 24th, we broke higher, made new highs, and we bounced for 2 days. So there was a separate composite here, which I'm about to delete. And then I'm going to extend this composite all the way out, since the two areas are now meshing with each other. So now our composite balance expands, and then we can see a clearer picture of what areas the market favors and what areas the market is likely to reject. So from top to bottom, we have a small HVN in the 1314 area. The next area down is the high of yesterday, which was the 2110.75 area. We have a small LVN at 2108.75. I expect the 2108.75 on the way up to present us with some resistance. You can see here that there's a low right here on Wednesday the 25th at 2108.75. And then we are essentially stuck. We've been stuck in this area between 2108.75 and 2099.75, and that's where we finished yesterday. And then this morning, because of the overnight action, we've fallen through, and we'll wait to see what happens here on the open. But the expectation is we do get responsive, and we end up trading in this high volume node here. I wish I could annotate the screen with Google Hangouts on air. I cannot. Hopefully you can follow the cursor here. But in any case, I'm looking for the market to continue to thoroughly test this acceptance area, and then potentially, if it cannot hold on to this acceptance area, given the rejection yesterday, we're looking for it to start building and filling in the low volume node to accept prices in between. What this says about today, though, if we look at the overnight session, the overnight session essentially opened sideways and drifted sideways until the European Open. Once the Italian numbers came out, it flushed out pretty quick down to 2097 and has held on to that low. Ignore this bar here. This is a bad tick that I need to clean out. But overall, the market has just been stuck near lows. This is a poor low here at 2096.75 against the overnight low. The expectation is that the market's likely to test this 95.50 again. So this morning, and then there's a clear overnight LVN at 2101.50. So I'm going to use that as an early above, below a kind of a cutoff line, the 2101.50. As long as the market stays below the 2101.50, I'm basically looking on the open for a responsive buyer to step right in, take us back up into this LVN at 2101.50. If it's confronted with sellers, then I'm going to target 2091 on Hypo 1. That's what I'm looking for today. I do expect responsive buying, though. The overnight inventory is short. I expect that to balance out on the open. So I'm looking for it to try to push higher and to fail, and then to look for 2091 as the key target as Hypo 1. The second hypo is that it actually opens, tests the overnight low, tries to push lower into 94.50, a minor composite LVN here, and then it starts to rotate back up through the 2100, through the 2101.50, and then targets 2105.50, and then again 2108.50 would be the key target above. That's Hypo 2. If you don't understand what I'm talking about and what these acronyms are, please go to futurestrader71.com /glossary. I also invite you to look at the video archive on the website. Just scroll back to the older videos. It's all free. It's all there for you to look at. In fact, that site's going to be taken down in the next couple months or so. So take advantage of it while it's there, and have a look to catch up, and in that way these trader bites make more sense to you. So that's what we have for today. You have Hypo 1 and 2. Hypo 1 being an attempt higher, selling to 2109, 2091 even. Hypo 2, an early test against the low, because we do have a weak low overnight, an early test of the low early to fulfill the overnight stat. Then it's likely to poke its head down to 94.50 or so to find buyers, and then rotate back up to 2100, 2101.50, and then 2105.50 for a test of the open point of control. Let's take a look at the Euro stocks. The Euro stocks ended up returning returning back to what I had talked about on Monday. Remember, 35.54 was our key target from below as we pushed up, and it was the first composite high volume node HVN after the thin non-existent volume area that we went through from 34.40 to 35.54, and yesterday it actually managed to fall back in. Like I said, this has pushed through that composite high volume node by further than I expected. The expectation when we come into a high volume node is that the market will likely chop around for a bit, build some compression, build some volume, and then make its next move. And this has just basically pushed through and all the way up to 3609, and now we're back into we're back in the area that was expected. So right now the Euro stocks are holding on to the MCHVN, and then I'm looking for it to test even lower down into that 35.25, the prior balance area, and then potentially down to 34.87 to close this open point of control. This is going to change dramatically tomorrow after the ECB announcement. Crude oil is very interesting. Crude oil, it made this high at 55 on the April contract. This was lower on the March contract. It made the high, came back, made a second high, came back, and then pushed to break that second high, which gave us a W formation and a very high potential for a move to 57, 53 up here, the next key balance area up, and it has completely miserably failed to do so. It's crawled back down. But if I put a composite on this, you can see that it's stuck. It's stuck in this MCVPOC area at $50. It's liking $50. The next area up, as I expand this image here, if you're trading crude oil, let me pull this. Let me put this this composite forward so that we can see the levels a little more clearly. Bring to front. So the next area up for a challenge higher, which it looks like it is about to do, is for today is 51.82. 51.82 being the next key area to test. I expect it to chop around between this LVN at 50.75, and then potentially push all the way up into the 50.20, 52.80 area and get stuck here. I expect this point of control to shift up as higher prices are accepted. So what we have is a three-pronged distribution in crude oil. Any failure from here is likely to target this 47.80. It has not been tested yet. Looking for this 47.80 from the prior balance to be tested. This is the prior balance here. Has not quite, sorry, not 47.80, 47.60. Hasn't quite pushed there, got to 47.80. But right now, crude has stopped trending and is balancing, so it's gaining energy for the next move, for the next likely move. Not much on the news, not much being done by Saudi and others, so it's likely to balance out. But technically, if it was left to auction on its own, technically it looks like it's likely to push up to this next HVN at 51.83. That would be my target for longs. Targets for shorts is 47.80. Right now, favoring longs over shorts in crude oil. That's just my opinion. I'm over my time by 2 minutes. Good luck today. As always, we're here to trade day in, day out. So monitor your risk and only stick your neck out when you see a clear advantage to being a buyer versus a seller, or seller versus a buyer. So don't go out there looking for action, looking for volatility. Trade the edge. That's what you're here for. Good luck.